Hey Sam, hope you're doing well today. Two things, Matt. First, Matt talked about you guys sitting down together and watching the New Orleans game, hoping that if you saw things that maybe that would help clear out what you need to change there. What did you get from that?
Yeah, I think whenever you watch tape, whenever you can learn from, what you did in the past that was good, it's always helpful. So, I took the coaching and, the really good points that he made and, going to try to implement them into my game in practice, and that'll obviously carry over to the game.
And what did you make of all the reports about the Panthers looking at Deshaun Watson? I know they've since said they're not going to be pursuing him, but for you as a quarterback, knowing there's talk about another quarterback, what did you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not I'm not worried about it. I mean, I'm worried about doing my job every single day, and that's the only thing I'm worried about is making sure that I execute and do my job every single play, every single day, and that's all I'm worried about right now.
Thanks.
Let's go to Darren Gant, followed by Steven Toronto.
Sam, in talking about going back to the New Orleans tape and looking at the things you did well, how hard is it to sort of flush the last couple games and focus on that when you go through that with Matt?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Monday you focus on kind of what we did against the Giants and focus on what I did wrong and how I can improve, take notes there. But, at the same time, you want to, look at similar concepts that you did in previous, the early weeks that, when we had success, and then, kind of look at the difference in footwork or difference in some of my mechanics throughout the last few weeks when we've been losing. And so we just looked at some of those things, and it was good to kind of take note of some things I was doing that were beneficial in the first few weeks, and some things that I kind of got away from these last three or last four. So it's just continuing to learn, continuing to grow as a quarterback.
Are there other people you talk to about this kind of stuff, about those mechanical issues outside of this building?
Mm-mm.
Sam, part of playing quarterback is being the emotional epicenter of the team. You've had about half a season now to work with and build chemistry with your teammates now. Have you noticed there have been times this season where your teammates have either elevated their level of play and rallied around you when you've made a big play, or if you haven't been playing as well, they've gone more flat emotionally?
No, I think our team does a good job of emotionally staying consistent. It can be tough, when you're not moving the ball and things are kind of stale, to kind of stay up and stay with it, on the sideline. And I think, our team for the most part does a good job of it. But again, you want to stay out of those positions as much as possible. I mean, we want to be able to march the ball down the field. Obviously, we want to get in the red zone, but we want to have those drives where we sustain them and we're able to convert third down after third down and go down the field and score points. That's the name of the game. And I feel like when we don't do that, I feel like as an offense we do a pretty solid job of trying to keep our heads up and continuing to move forward as the day goes on.
And then another thing I wanted to ask you, if I could, you were having some success running the ball earlier this year. You only ran it twice against Philadelphia. Against the Giants, you didn't run it at all. How come you've gone away from running the ball as a quarterback? I don't know. Has it been designed, or has it been just not making that decision?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, in the pocket. If I feel like there's a lane, I'm going to take off. But, if I feel like I'm progressing and going through my progressions and, I feel like, I just need to keep doing that. And I don't really feel any lanes or see any lanes. I think, I'm just going to do whatever I feel is best for myself and for the team to be able to move the football. So if a lane opens up and I feel like it's a time to, take it down and run, then I'm going to. But if not, I'm just going to continue to do my thing as a quarterback.
All right, let's go to Steve Reed, followed by Will Palacic.
Sam, not to overstate it, but I mean, how was this emotionally this week? After being taken out of the game, how have you dealt with that? How are you feeling now? And also, if you could kind of preview the Falcons, what you see from them.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, it's for me personally, it's just one of those things that I have to. I think I told you guys this after the game, but I just have to take it in and understand. Okay, handle it however I handle it. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much the end all with that. I'm not going to go too into detail with how I do that, but I handle it with myself and do it that way. But again, like as a competitor, I want to be out there on the field with my teammates, and that's that's the end of the story for me. I just want to be out there and compete with my teammates, and obviously when I can't do that, it's tough. But yeah, the Falcons, they got a great defense. They're flying around right now. I mean, they're making it happen. Their front seven's really good. Their back end's really good as well. And again, they disguise really well, and they bring certain pressures, and they have different looks that way. So we got to be prepared for everything, and we'll go about it that way.
Sam, in terms of the offensive philosophy going into the season, how much of what you guys are doing or are planning to do now is a departure from what you thought it was going to be once the season began?
Yeah, I think for us, we're continuing to, run our offense. We're continuing to do the things that, worked in the first 3 weeks, and we're not getting away from anything. So, nothing's really changed that way.
And I know we've talked a lot about your mechanics. Are the mechanics a figment of the way the line play has worked, or is it a situation where, you got inside your own head in that type of way in terms of things getting maybe thrown off, so to speak?
No, I think it's just, for me, it's going through my progressions, understanding, going through it. And again, if something's not there, don't try to force it. Just go through my progressions. If nothing's there, then try to make something happen with my feet or do something that way. But, I just got to continue to stay consistent with my footwork. I think when my feet are right, it's a good thing. It's always a good thing when your feet are on time, and you can, and for me, especially when I play on rhythm, I'm a lot better than when I'm just kind of sitting back there and shuffling my feet so much. So my feet have to be right, and I have to be on rhythm, and that's what I'm going to continue to work on in practice.
Let's go to JB Ricks, followed by Mike Solarte.
Hey, Sam. JB Ricks here from Spectrum News 1. Appreciate you taking out the time. I have a two-part question for you in regards to the slump that you said you're going through right now. Do you have any past experiences that you dealt with throughout your career, whether it be pro or college, that you can use to help you get through what you're going through right now? And the second part of that question is, what would it be? What would it take for that first step or that first pass, that first touchdown, whatever it may be, for you to realize, okay, boom, I got it back again or whatever, and I can go back to being the quarterback that I know I can be? Yeah,
it's a great question. I've dealt with it in the past. I think for the most part, it really is just trusting your process. Obviously it's, it worked. The first 3 weeks, things are going great, and just because you've lost a few games doesn't mean you just completely change everything. So I think myself and my teammates, we just have to continue to stick with our process and what kind of worked those first 3 weeks. And again, I think going down to answer your second part, I think going down the field and scoring is that's as an offense, that's how you gain confidence. You go down the field, you convert some third downs, maybe you have a big play, but you go down and you get that feeling of scoring. And when you do that, that's how, as an offense, we build confidence. And, we look forward to doing that.
Hey, Sam, Mike Solarte here. The question I have for you, it kind of pertains to what you answered earlier, that you don't talk with anybody outside of the building. But I know you've got a support system, friends, family, former teammates. Do you hear from those folks? Do they make suggestions? And if they do, what's the weirdest one you've gotten about how to, I mean, is it, changing up your pregame meal? Is it, taping your ankle differently? I mean, anything to kind of get your mind in a different frame before you hit the field.
No, I mean, most people who know me well enough know not to say anything about that kind of stuff. So, because they know I'll just shut them down right away. So, I'm going to do what I do. And, obviously, on the field, things haven't been working out. And, I just got to continue to look at, like I told you about what me and Coach Rule did, just continue to look at what I've been doing that's good, what I've been doing that's bad, and try to eliminate the bad and do more of the good. That's as simple as I can put it. And, outside of that, routine-wise, I'm going to do what I do. Like I just said, the process is the process, and that doesn't change.
Do you have anything specific on game day that you do that you in the past may have changed? Listening to a different type of music, or I mean, I don't know what your pregame routine is, obviously. So anything along those lines that might be something that you could tinker with just to change up the luck.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to all types of music. I mean, it doesn't matter, but mostly calm music. I'm not a real rah-rah kind of guy right before the game. I need my mind to be, calm and focused. So I'm not listening to a ton of, bang my head against the wall kind of music. So I don't know what else to call it, but yeah, that's a great question though.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, we have time for a few more. Let's go to Joe Person, followed by Deshaun Brown.
Sam, we've asked you this before, but when you're talking about this first 3 games versus the last 4, I mean, that coincides with Christian's injury. What do you think going out? How did that affect your mechanics, just the way you were doing things, whatever?
Yeah, Joe, I can always count on you to ask about Christian. That's good. Yeah, Christian's, obviously he's a big part of what we do here, and he's a great player. But him being out, it's we just have to adjust. You know what I mean? And for me, like, reads don't change just because, Christian's out of the ball game. Obviously, Christian's a great player. We all know that. And we can't, we're not just going to ignore that fact. But, with that being said, there has to be, next man up mentality. And that's how it is around here.
Also, I wondered if you were in the room when you heard Cam talk about you being the quarterback and putting his support behind you and what that meant.
Yeah, I was in here. I mean, yeah, we're all in for each other, and that's all that matters. That's all that we care about. So yeah.
Hey, Sam, a few moments ago, Coach Rule, as he was just talking about some of the things that you reviewed on tape, and he talked a lot about tempo and perhaps the tempo being a little too quick at times for you in the last few games. How much of that have you been able to sense in game versus seeing it back on tape?
Yeah, I think, even in game, I think just kind of sensing my feet, being a little too quick. I feel it sometimes, and I got to continue to do a better job of just doing it in practice. I think that's really where it starts is feeling my rhythm and feeling, being on time in practice. And when I can get it right there, I know it'll just be right in the game.
Is there a certain marker or knowing that sort of clicks where you feel like you are back in rhythm?
Yeah, I think for me it's slowing it down. Just my feet. I feel like sometimes, my feet can be very fast in a bad way. Sometimes that's good, but for me, I want everything to kind of be rhythmic and a little bit slow. Slower is not a great term, but, that's kind of the word that I've been using is more on rhythm and a little bit slower than what I've been doing the last few weeks. So, or at times in those few weeks. So, I think that's really the key for me is just making sure that my timing and my rhythm is on point in practice.